said, for $25,000, we'll give you half of Gold's Gym. I'm thinking, oh, it's a dump, it's a hole in the wall. There's 2 girls, I love this place, but I can't invest all the money I just made, or half the money I just made in a gym. Only one Gold's Gym. I bought a Corvette instead. Okay, big mistake. I had the Corvette, I had my little Mr. U 1978 on the plate. But if I would have invested in Gold's Gyms with that offer, I would have owned half of Gold's Gyms around the world today. So big mistake. Okay, so I never had business vision. I had bodybuilding vision, I had squatting vision, but never business vision. And to make a long story short, I'm sort of jumping around just to cultivate what you want to talk about. But in about 20 years later, a little less than 20 years, my neighbor, I'm living next to Arnold and Ferrigno, I'm living in the neighborhood now, okay? I'm like, this is cool, north of Santa Monica, north of Montana. And my neighbor said, I want you to invest with me, Tom. I'm like, oh, no, here we go again. Somebody wants some money, you know. You start making some money, everybody wants it. I'm thinking, okay, what's your business idea? He goes, I have an idea for a coffee shop. I'm like, coffee? He said, I'm not going to invest money in a coffee shop. You know what he called his business? Starbucks. Okay, so I missed again. Two times. I totally missed. I didn't see the picture. I didn't see the big picture as far as America and business. And now everywhere I go in the world, there's a Gold's Gym and there's Starbucks. It's amazing, you know. And I still think about that, and it's an interesting story. But what I did invest in is training. What I did put my heart into is the gym and the attitude. And I believe that attitude monitors talent, okay? Very much so. Attitude monitors talent. You can do anything you want to do in life, as I mentioned. You can become a doctor, a lawyer, anything you want. I wish I had one more life. I think I'd become a pro golfer this time, just for fun. Not that I'm any good, I'm terrible, but I could do it with the same attitude and body, but it would work in pro golf, I'm sure. I mean, remember Jackie Gleason, a comedian from back in the 60s? A lot of you don't know him, but he was a terrible golfer, heavy-set guy, he could never hit the ball. He became a scratch golfer because he played every day. You know, I'm thinking, you know, I could become a pro golfer if I had one more life. I don't want to be a lawyer, maybe a doctor. You know? Really, if you want something bad enough in life, if you're willing to put the work in, if you don't let anybody tell you you can't do something, especially yourself, nothing you can't do. That's what the gym really taught me. That's what the squat rack told me. The squat rack and the goals. eligible. My second Olympia, 1980, Australia. I'm like, wow. And Arnold and Menzer are fighting in the back room. I'm like, I can't handle this now. This is my life's work here, you know. And finally in 81, to progress, I decided within myself that now it's time to do business. And I told you I had everybody's, when I was a little boy, I had Zane's and Robbie's and Ed Corney's and Arnold's picture on my poster on my bedroom wall. And to be standing next to the same guys on stage took me 3 years to get to the point where I go, I can beat one of these guys. So by 1981, all of a sudden I just knew it was my time. I knew it was. Every time I trained in the same gym with Franco and Arnold. And I remember every time I'd get done training, pull the shirt off a little bit, Franco was like, if the contest was today, you would and Arnold said, that's it. Much better than Franco today. That was every day. Okay, I think, you know, which is another story. I can get into that too. I can get into that too, but I think a long story short, I lost the Olympia in 1981. I lost the Olympia. Probably the best thing that ever happened to me. I mean, if I would have just won the Olympia, I mean, another guy who won, okay, who's next, you know? But by losing the Olympia and by being the guy that could have, that should have, with, you know, Callender, Padilla being those guys, I have a career. I mean, I'm 37 years later, I'm still working from losing the Olympia that night. I mean, did I really lose? I don't have a Sandow trophy. If I did, I'd probably be using it as a doorstop somewhere, you know, and I have everything else that goes along with the trophy. And I thank God for that. I'm very grateful for that. And it's been a great life and very meaningful to me. And now I want to be able to tell you about it. Not that I want to tell you all about me, but if it makes a difference in where you are and what you're thinking about doing in business or whatever the case may be, you can. You can. It should be the You Can seminar. There's nothing in your way but you. You know, and anything you want to do, there's no reason why you can't do it. And that's been my life story. And I've had people around me that said, you know, questioned that. I'm no longer friends. Good to see you. You know, the guys back in Michigan who were much better than me, squatted better than me, didn't want the limelight. They said, Tom, we're reading about you in the magazines pretty soon. I left. You betcha. You know, so I have to tell you, I'm not all that. I'm not the message. I'm the messenger. I'm the messenger. I'm standing on the shoulders of many men and women before me. Guys, the names I mentioned. And we're all standing on the shoulders of God. Okay, God gives us the ability, this power. And I see it so clearly. My whole life's been about that kind of life. My whole life's been about doing what I wanted to do and expecting success and finding success somewhere. I would not let up on that. It was like, I could not drown. I figured if I didn't succeed in bodybuilding, it's like drowning in the water. I had to breathe. I'm going to figure a way to breathe, no matter what. Okay? There were some days when it wasn't that good, and sometimes I questioned, but I should keep doing this. I got the answers pretty quick. I just kept on, kept moving forward no matter what. Even in the eyes of failure, life has been good. And now I'm 63 telling the story, and I want you to know if you want something bad enough, you can do it. I'm 100% positive on that, not because it's something I read, but because it's something I did. So it's easy to talk about things that happen in your life. In any event, I'd like to open up some questions to you guys. Okay, so you know, a lot of us have been talking. We're going to go exactly where we want to go. Hold this music. Tell me your thank you. Music. Tell me your question.
Okay. Yeah, I guess I read or somewhere that you would squat, and we just talked earlier. You would squat so hard that sometimes you would fall over after this set, and your soul would rise up, look down at the body, and you told me earlier. Sometimes that lasts for 10 minutes before. Yeah. Just like to know how that came about and how many times that happened.
Every squat workout was like that. I mean, I would wait 2 weeks to prepare mentally, spiritually, and you know, physically I'd have a pizza every night before the squat workout. I'd have a pizza and maybe some ice cream too. That was really one of the secrets. You know, a whole extra large pizza just for me, nobody else. So I'd walk in the gym in the morning going, man, I'm like, I'm all carved up. I'm ready to do anything. Okay? That was I never told anybody this. Don't tell old school, okay? No, maybe we should have old school pizza, you know. Prep night getting ready for the SWAT workout. But, you know, once I ate the pizza, it was like, I know I'm gonna have a great workout tomorrow. I just know. My waist would feel a little bit thicker. My belt would feel a little bit fuller. I couldn't walk as well. My legs were fuller, you know, and I could rep out those reps and do those sets. So that's, yeah, I would prepare that way. And every night for 2 weeks, I would fantasize about what kind of weight I wanted to do. But I was really a power lifter. I was good at low reps. If I did what I was supposed to do, the gift I got from God, I would have been a powerlifter, and I did that. But when I won the when I won the junior state powerlifting championship and the senior state powerlifting championship, I got a beer mug and a pat on the back, and good job, son. Okay, thanks. Go home, put it on the mantle, on the trophy mantle, you know, above the fireplace, and that's it. Nothing else. Go back to work. I'm like, I thought I want more than that. I want California, Hollywood. I want Arnold and Draper. I want all this stuff I see in the magazines, you know. And so when I won the Mr. Michigan in 1975, I mean, Joe Weider's on the phone, comes to California for a photo shoot. I'm thinking, wow, this is my opportunity. So I was a body powerlifter who pretended to be a bodybuilder all these years. I was really a strength athlete who pretended to be a bodybuilder, okay? It was more glamorous. I guess I sold out to bodybuilding, but that's what I wanted to do. But I was always good at low reps. 3 to 5 reps was high reps for me, like most powerlifters. So the idea of doing higher reps, this didn't happen one day. I had a plan, a good part of a decade. In fact, within 20 years, I was able to learn how to do reps and condition my energy system and alter my energy system to do high reps. Okay? Back then, it wasn't about pharmacology. It wasn't about, you know, great genetics. It was just about, what do I do in the gym? How do I figure this out? I figured that the high reps would work in conjunction with the heavy weights. What if I did both? What if one day I walked in, you know, did my powerlifting stuff, 3, 5 reps? What if the next day I walked in with at least 15 reps? So I would challenge myself. And when I was a young boy, you know, I was like, God, 15, 11, 12 years old. I went to the gym, and they, you know, the big lifters, they showed me how to squat. And they said, go get a pair of lifting shoes and come back, and then maybe we'll work with you. I go get a pair of lifting shoes. In 1972, where am I going to find lifting shoes? I went to the sporting goods store, and they won't let me in the gym unless I have a pair of lifting shoes with the wooden heels. And the guy pulled out a pair of lifting shoes he had in the back for one pair of my size, and I went back to the gym in Detroit, and they allowed me to squat with them. I was taught. I got perfect, the most purest squatters in the world. Norbert Szymanski, he went to the Olympic Games and won the 220-pound class, gold medalist. And all the guys now that, you know, have taught and are still teaching in Colorado, the Olympic team, those are my original teachers. So my squat was pure, it was perfect. And they would put the weight on for me, tell me how much to do, and I always say, can I do a warm down set now with more reps? Yeah, go ahead. So like 15, 20, and that's how I get into it. Okay. But I always figured, it was based upon my education, my instinct, that the reps were important. And so it started at 15s, and it went to, you know, 20s and 30s, and at one time I wanted to see if I could do body weight for 10 minutes, which I'll never do again. I was crazy. That killed me, you know, really. We trained for a whole year for that. But the reps became sort of like something that was like really, I was raised with, you know, Star Trek and Arnold. Okay, so to boldly go where no man has gone. Okay, to put massive weight on the bar and do 15 to 30 to 40 to 50 perfect, pure reps. Not the, you know, lower, not the stuff we see nowadays. Perfect, you know, perfect reps where your back's pretty straight, you know. And I was able to do that. And over time, I was able to do more and more and more, and the reps worked for me. Reps are probably more effective than the heavy weights. There's a lot of guys I trained with are really good squatters. He could squat huge weights, like Fred Hatfield. When I squatted with him, he's squatting 1,000 pounds. He had skinny legs. You know, and I was squatting like a mere 600, 700, you know, repping out. But so the reps, the secret's in the reps. There's more cellular damage. At a cellular level, there's more tissue damage, which you want, if you will, cellular damage. But to make a long story short, if an exercise doesn't have a risk, it's not worth doing. The squat has a risk. I mean, you know, walking him in the gym and going, you know, the weight, and envisioning the weight on the bar, and warming up and looking at the squat rack, there's a risk. It's hard to put that kind of weight on your back and be very good to have good technique. But I figured, you know, if it had a risk, as long as it wasn't more of a risk than I was willing to take, as long as it had a benefit-to-risk ratio that, as far as I considered pretty good, would be the most effective exercise I could do. So I selected all the exercises that had the most risk. I don't want to commit suicide now. I didn't go to the gym going, okay, I'm going to do this exercise and kill myself. And I see guys do that and they blow their intestines out. I'm like, what the hell are you doing? You know, too much weight and your technique is off. But I think with pure technique, careful attention to pure, perfect reps based upon my teachers over the years, that this leg thing would work. I had skinny legs, as many of you know, when I first started. But my legs responded very well. And when I walked out to a lot of these contests I just mentioned, the judges would go, what the hell is that? We never saw legs. You know, like, because Arnold had the, you know, nice little shapely legs, you know. And so when I walked out, I didn't know what to do. It sounded like my recruiter from the corporate world. I don't know what to do with you. So they put me in one of the high spots, okay? And the leg thing was a gift from God. Where I didn't have talent, He gave me the audacity and the willingness and the understanding of doing reps and the right muscle attachment sites and all that low center of gravity and degree of ankle flexibility and hip flexibility to really make the squat my own. And it worked for me, worked very well, and not only my leg-wise, but made my whole body grow. Okay? But all the time, when you're doing 50 reps with 405, which is something I did, I could not manage that. I mean, I couldn't manage coming to the gym going, okay, I'm going to do 50 with 405. It's too much to manage. Okay, I go, but I could do 5 at a time. That's where the 5 at a time came. I'd have my partner stand behind me. I would say, don't say anything other than 5. When I get 5, when I get 10, say 10. When I get 15, say 15, okay? And keep going like that. Don't say anything, don't touch me. As long as I knew they were standing there. And Tony Martino would stand there in the 80s. He was there before I even got to the gym. He was waiting for me and getting excited, you know. He's a perfect training partner. But he would say things, every once in a while he would say things between reps like, you own this exercise, you own this exercise. I believed him, you know. Like, okay, I own this exercise. It's mine, I own this space. And Tony would count, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 40 I'm done. I mean, I'm done, 40 reps of 405, I'm like, you know, I'm really done. 5 more. That's where that 5 more reps came. I got to tell you, those last 10 reps wasn't me doing it. That was God. Okay, it wasn't me. I'm like, I'm ready to rack it. I'm like, I can't breathe. You know, and Jacob see me do that many times. I'm like, but somehow I got 5 more, and I really believe that you know, God was with me, and it was part of the plan. And usually you do what you're supposed to do in life. You know, you do what you're good at. Okay, and that's what I was good at. But with in this day and age of Instagram, Facebook, all this stuff, it's hard to be quiet. But if you really sit, and if you're real quiet and turn off all your computers, turn off all the little bells and whistles and things that alert you, if you're quiet, the TV's off, if you listen, if you really listen, it's almost get into that zone to where you're quiet and you're doing mantra almost, or you could do mantra, and you know what to do. The answers come. The answers will come. And then you go after, you start, you're told what to do by the universe. We're all good at something. We're all very good at something. In the gym, maybe it's something in life and business, who knows? But it's your responsibility to make a self-promise. to promise yourself, I will never be a loser. So when I was a little kid, I said to myself, I will never be a loser. I'll never leave the gym knowing I could have done more. That was death to me. That was a sin. That was a mortal sin. Okay? And what really helped was my football coach in Kansas City. I was like in junior high school, right? Playing football. We had twice-a-day sessions. He kicked me in the butt. Coach Smith kicked me in the butt. Boom! This is back when you could kick students and stuff. And I went flying. He goes, Platz, you'll never be nothing. You're nothing. Okay? Like, the whole world was like, my God. He told me I'll never be nothing. I went way inside myself. Listened to that voice. I can be quicker, faster, stronger. And I started inventing ways to do things really good. And sure enough, 20 years later, I was now in the 80s, and I'm competing in bodybuilding, my heyday in the 80s, and his athletes on the team would call me. This is when the internet first started. They would email me, and they said, are you the same Tom Platz that Coach Smith talks about? I said, yes, I am. Please tell Coach Smith thank you for everything he's done for me. Because I needed somebody to kick me in the ass one time. I needed that as a boy. I needed to know I could. But that's what allowed me to make a self-promise. So I made a self-promise to myself as that boy. I said, I will never be this guy. The guy that Coach Smith said I am, I'm never going to be that guy. I'd rather die than be that guy. So what I got to do, I got to be totally spent. I got to give it everything I have. And it's not about competing with another human like other sports. It's just about competing with yourself. In every sport, you're competing with another human, right? Except bodybuilding. You look in the mirror, that's the competition. So every workout, how do I beat that guy? Okay, no, here's the 80s. I'm being glorified for all these reps. I gotta do more. I gotta do more, Tom. Platz, don't, I get challenged myself. Okay. And I had this switch. I never told anybody else about this either. I could be normal. Hi, how are you? And then I had this switch and went to the gym. Now I'm insane. Absolutely insane. And I will give everything I possibly have, then some, for the set. When the set's over, oh wow, I could see myself. It was a presence. I was above my body. I could see myself doing the hack squats. And then within minutes, I come back to reality going, wow, that was a set. Okay. I remember laying on the floor after 50 reps of 405 going, heart rate's way high. It was stupid high. It must have been like 300 beats. Boom, bing. I could barely see. The room was twisting, and it felt like somebody was stabbing knives in my legs. Like, oh man, I'm laying on the floor, and Tony's like, he's fine. Don't worry about him. He's fine. He does this all the time. Thanks, Tony. So I'd open the door to the gym and go to the water fountain, squirt some water in my face. After about 10 minutes, and I'd think to myself, look at Tony, do one more set. Do it again. So I would leave the gym, and my strategy was, if I could walk to the car, I haven't done enough. Okay, so I'd go to the car. Tony would help me. I had this big old Corvette with a big steering wheel. I could barely get into it, Life was good. I'd go home, back to the house, going, victory today. I won. I had to leave that way. Imagine going back home going, I could have did more. So I put that into everything I did. Put that into the office. I put that into every exercise I did. And you know what? Where I didn't have talent, I still got great results. My genetics became a victim to me. I was not a victim to my genetics. And pretty soon, initially I was ridiculed. That's not the way to train. He's crazy. That's abusive. And now, 30, 40 years later, he did things right. Now I'm responsible for scientific dogma. I'm like, okay, I knew some things about, exercise physiology and kinesiology because I had degrees, but I had instincts. I was being led. I listened to that voice when I sat down. I knew what to do. But even if you make the wrong choice, in the big scheme of things, you don't have a chance. You gotta try, though. You gotta do stuff. What's your impossible? What is your impossible? You gotta ask yourself that. What do I really want to do in life? Because someday, it's going to be your last day. Someday, it's going to be your last day. So every day, I'm like, this is an opportunity. There's an opportunity here, you know? And granted, I have a lot of opportunities in Starbucks and Golds and all these things. Some I didn't take, some I should have taken, some I did say yes to, and that's the way life is. Life is about abundance and prosperity and sharing all that. And if your career is meaningful to other people, it's worth it. It's a good career. I've listened to major film stars say that if my career affects people in a positive way, that's why my art is what it is. That's why I do what I do. You know, there was a time I did it for the money, but it's far more effective when you do it for the love of the business, and money's a side effect. Okay. And that's pretty much been my life. I wanted to give you a little bit around the squatting and what it meant to me and where I came from. This reverb is kind of funny, isn't it? It's not funny to hear myself talk. In any event, we can come back to that eventually, but other questions revolving. Anyone want to talk about it? Yes, sir.
Because you see about it, or unless you know, you see how it's funny it's just kind of stuff
Okay, we're asking questions about periodization. How did you work the whole body, not just your legs? I applied the principles of leg training to everything I did. So I had heavy days on my incline presses. You know, I would get to the point where I had 180-pound dumbbells in Gold's Gym for 8 reps, 9 reps. And that was my heavy day. We'd put some big iron up. But I would generally, around January, I'd always take Thanksgiving and Christmas off because I could. And I figured I needed a rest. And this is what Arnold taught me. Arnold always say, "You ski?" I said, "No." He said, "Come on, we're going skiing." Okay, fine, I guess we're going skiing now. And I learned how to ski, I learned how to do other things, you know, that snow ski and things along those lines. But it sort of taught me periodization, how to have part of the year when you're doing other things, not really focused on the gym. And so usually January, late January, February, March, I get into my training, where one day was heavy, one day was light, and I sort of look at it that way. My calories are much higher during that time. I wanted to gain muscle mass prior to getting closer to the show, to where 3 or 4 months I would start leaning up, if you will. And so I had mesocycles. Every 4 to 6 weeks I would assess what I was doing and where I was. Probably more realistically, I was traveling a lot later in the year, so I would train real heavy and real hard prior to going to Europe for 3 or 4 months. And I would only exercise in Europe, play around, you know, come back home in better shape. So I had the luxury of every 3 or 4 months going to Europe and exercising and not really training that hard or that heavy. And that allowed me to really prosper that way. Whenever I traveled with Arnold, Arnold would train twice a day, every day. In fact, I tried training with Arnold when I first came to California. Twice a day, every day. I mean, anything he did, I did. Okay? He had a blonde girlfriend, I had a blonde girlfriend. Okay? Whatever else. Eat hash browns, I eat hash browns. What else? Coffee, I drink coffee. Okay? And then train twice a day, 6 days a week. All right, fine, I'm in. I got small and fat training with Arnold. Finally, I said, I don't care who you are. I can't do this. I'm nothing like I was back in Michigan. So I took 3 weeks off, came back to the gym, trained 3 or 4 days a week, and I got big and full and strong. I can't train as often. That's the secret for me, as far as what I can apply to my mesocycles and my macrocycle, if you will. I would leave for the weekend with Arnold. We'd go for the weekend to do exhibitions at one point and seminars, and he'd come back home skinny and small. We didn't train over the weekend. He would get small and deflated and sort of over the weekend. I didn't train over the weekend either. I got big and full and strong, and I'm putting 180-pound dumbbells up Monday morning, you know. I needed the rest. So in other words, for me, for my body type, mostly a powerlifter type body, more white fiber, I could train really intense, but not very often. My frequency had to be subdued. my intensity, the higher I could make it, the higher I could make intensity without hurting myself, at least too bad. That was the answer. So I invented ways to do reps, this crazy stuff, and partial reps, static reps, having someone spot me to where that really high, intense kind of a set to where I didn't do that many. I did 2 sets of squats, that's it. I didn't counting the warm-ups, okay? But those sets, my life would pass in front of my eyes. I mean, I was like, you know, mind-boggling, crazy intensity. And I could train squats then every 2 weeks, twice a month. It became my way of understanding that. The early days, I trained squats twice a week. My frequency was high, my intensity was low. But I found for me, for my body type, was a lot like Menser. Menser was influential to me. Oh yeah, okay. I came in the gym as a young man. He's over there with Casey Viator. Casey Viator was like my inspiration for squats. Casey's like 18 years old doing 500 pound, 495, 500 pound squats for 20 reps. 18 years old. I'm like, that's what I'm talking about. It made sense to me. And Menser's attitude of taking one exercise and beating it to death versus doing 5 or 6 exercises made sense to me. But I eventually, trained a little bit like Arnold, a little bit like me or Menser, and had my own style. Is how it sort of came about, if you will. And that's sort of how I learned periodize by mistake or by learning. All those experiences helped me periodize. And I could show you training journals from, I could tell you what I ate for breakfast and how I trained back in 1981, like that morning, My wife thinks I'm crazy. You should publish these things. I don't know, who wants to read about that? But everything I ate, everything I did, what I thought, I listed in the book. That's what I did at 5 in the morning. When I got up at 5 in the morning, I had my coffee, my 2 Pop-Tarts, and I wrote down, today, I'm gonna do this. When it came out of you too, and I wrote down on that book, 405, 50 reps. I have to do it now, I have to do it. I wrote it down in my book. I can't go home and erase that, okay? It's already done. So in my mind, 50's coming, but not 5 at a time. 5, 5, 5, 20, 5, 5, 5, okay, go from there. And that's the way I was able to take small pieces of that and put it together. And everything in life, I make very simple. I believe it's simple is more readily achievable, okay? And I make everything simple, regardless of how complex it is. Even in corporate life, computer systems. I figured out one thing at this program, and now I do another thing. How do I do another thing? 6 months later, I'm like, I'm pretty sharp, okay? But went through some frustration, learning, what almost annihilated me, okay? I come home going, I can't talk anymore. Okay, it's like a workout in the gym, corporate world for me. I loved it. I loved the whole attitude of it. I love the fact that if you really believe you can make something work, you can not make it work, but if you want something bad, if you can do it. I learned that. That's my one statement, probably the whole seminar. Want something bad enough, it can be yours. If you're willing to do the work, of course, but it will be yours, no matter what. No matter what. That's why I keep saying if I had one more life, I'd be a pro golfer. Not that I'm good at golf, but kind of fun, Anyhow, hopefully I was able to answer your question and give you a little more insight into some other things. Other questions of any kind? Sure.
For someone starting out, how do you structure their program? Also, with macros like protein, carbs, and fat, what are your favorite foods to eat?
Okay. Well, initially when you first start out, you have to have a little bit of everything. You have to have carbs, you have to have protein, you have to have fats too, okay? And there's so much information online right now, it's confusing. And I would just eat good. I would not try to eat, more carbs or lower fats. I would just eat good. It was the advice I actually received from a gym owner when I was 16. He goes, why don't you just eat, good food rather than trying to eat low carbs like Arnold does or whatever. But he promoted and suggested to me to eat really just a good food and have 3 good meals, maybe 2 or 3 snacks as well. and to figure out eventually how many calories you might need to grow. If you're maintaining this body weight on 3,000 calories a day, how do you get 4,000 calories a day? How can you amp up the calories? What can you eat differently? Which I had to eat more steak, and I had to use butter in all my foods, you know. And I became aware of the fact that fats are really important. Fats are very important. I'm making a long story short. Just that general mentality of, you know, drinking milk, eating cheese, not being afraid to eat, feel good, feel recovered. Unlike the bodybuilding clean diet that you read about. Don't get into that right away. But as time went on for me, in competition, to sort of segue a little bit, I learned that, you know, I did what Arnold did and ate low carbs, and I ate high fat steaks and tuna and eggs, a dozen eggs in the morning, and I got some pretty good results doing that. But it wasn't until 1980 I sat down with Mike Menzer. I said, Mike, tell me about what you do with this high carbohydrate diet. How does that work for you? He explained it all to me. I decided for the 1980 Olympia, my second Olympia, I'm going to go high carbs. I went high carbs in 1979 throughout. Low carbs, high fat. But I went to 1980, I went to high carbs, 300 grams of carbohydrates a day, about 3,000 calories. And about less than 9 grams of fat a day was my goal, to really keep the fat low. But I think the secret is really in switching metabolisms. If I look back over the years, 1981 had great results. It wasn't that I discovered monkeys.
I was thinking of going right there.
He must have discovered something nobody else had. I discovered that high carbs really work well for me. Switching metabolism is extremely important. If I had to do it over again and say, well, I could have did better throughout my career, switching metabolisms. In 81, I went high carbs. 82, probably would have switched in 83, went back to, you know, low carbs, high fat. That would have been a great thing to do. And if you think about it, years ago, when everybody had farms, you know, in America, you had fruit cellar. Remember fruit cellars? My grandmother always had a fruit cellar. She would store the fruits and the vegetables in these jars during the winter. So you had carbs available in the fruit cellar. You know, some heavy sugars and store these things in. But eventually, you know, during the winter, the fruit cellar, all the fruit would be gone. The whole family is eating this stuff. And it would go to high fats. We had to survive on something, so we ate higher fats. And it wasn't until the summertime that we went higher carbs, which in a natural way of things, we switched metabolism. That was how mankind did it for many, many years. We still do it that way in Europe. But I think really our systems will adjust. Most people know that there's really a methodology behind altering high carbs and high fats back and forth. But I think initially, to answer your question, I would not have anything too high or too low. I'd have a baseline level of everything. I would probably have, 100 grams of fat a day or more, 300 grams of fat a day or more. For somebody like you, it's going to be between probably 4,000 to 5,000 calories a day. Not training that often. Probably training 3 or 4 days a week. Okay, don't try to train too much. Just eat good. And don't go around, walking around, don't live on tuna fish and lemon. No, you got to eat, okay? And get big, get strong. And then we could, later on, you can talk about how to refine your physique or lose fat and retain muscle. But I would eat like a football player, if you will, when you're young. That's what worked for me. In fact, that's what worked in 81. In 81, I got to do something different. It's my third Olympia. I got to do something different. So you know what I did? I went to McDonald's. I hung out at McDonald's, and I ate McDonald's meals, and I ate anything I wanted. And every day I ate anything I wanted. I got to be 242. People were going, my God, now he's fat. He's done. They started writing me off. I'm like, okay. Zeroing in on 5 months before the Olympia, within getting close to 4 months, I'm going to start gradually reducing the calories very slowly and bringing my fats down. And all of a sudden now, in 1981, I retained a lot of that size that I gained from bulking up, if you will. There's a lot of strategy in bulking up. People think it's overrated, it's antiquated, it's old school. It's what works. So it works, and that's what I did in '81 was what I did when I was a young boy. I just eat good, and train less. Okay? Eat big, think big, and train big. But sometimes training big doesn't mean often, if that makes sense. I'm giving you sort of a outline, if you will, to follow. But don't be. I remember going to the store back in the '70s. I lived at home with my mom and dad. I'd buy a half a gallon of milk. In line, I'd drink the whole half gallon. Can you throw this away for me, please? Thank you. And then go home and eat. Okay, and I was eating. I'd go to Kentucky Fried Chicken and eat the whole 25 pieces myself. Okay, I was. My parents were like, my God, something's wrong with this thing. But I had to get big, and I can get big eating. In fact, when I would eat a lot after contests, I would look like the guys nowadays, big guts. That's why I don't understand the current. That's another thing we could discuss if you like. But you got to eat. Eating is very important, as well as the training. And even initially, I would probably stimulate growth. Don't train, like the way I'm suggesting quite yet. Depending upon your schedule, your bodybuilding should never be your life completely. It should make your life better. Okay? Everybody makes bodybuilding their life. And then they will do it for 3 or 4 years, and then I can't do it anymore. It's over. It was when I was younger. It made my life better. I wanted everything from bodybuilding. I wanted the abundance and prosperity. And bodybuilding can make your life better. So I would fit it into your schedule, your work schedule, your school schedule. I remember I went to a health food store when I was like about 15, 16. And I was thinking about getting ready for college. My dad, his career, his goal for me was to go to college, right? Become the first Platz with a degree, or degrees. And I went to the health food store, and this old lady, probably younger than me now, but she was really old back then. And she goes, "Can I help you?" And the store smelled like real food. Like nowadays you go to GNC and it smells like a laboratory, right? But in the health food stores back in the 70s, desiccated liver, brewer's yeast, you could smell the kelp. You could smell these bins full of real food, And I go, wow, this is an interesting store. And that's where they sold the muscle magazines at. And so every month I'd wait for that magazine to come out. But I said to this old lady, and I was getting ready to think about college now, I said, I don't know how I'm going to go to college because I have to work and I have to, train. How can I do it all? And she looked at me and she said, honey, you'll figure it out. If you really want it bad enough, there's a way you can do it. You'll be able to do it all. I believed her, and she had no reason to tell me that. I don't know why I said that to her, but I didn't know what to think. I'm like, how am I going to become a professional bodybuilder and fulfill my dream, having to go to get a college education and have a job too? You'll figure it out, honey. Yes, ma'am. Thank you. And I never forgot about it. Certain things happened in my life that I got direction. People that didn't expect to give me direction did. I didn't expect Arnold to call me out of a big long line and say, "Come up here, kid. You the big orange parka with the tuna fish in your, come on up here." Like, yes, sir. And this old lady who gave me career advice. Opportunities present themselves to you every day. You can either take them or remain afraid of them. But if one thing, I do have to tell you, if you give up on your dreams, what do you have left? It'd be a tough existence if there's no dreams. To me, everything's about getting up in the morning and going, yeah, let's go. I'm going to be the first guy in the office. I'm going to get it done. I'm going to be the first guy in the gym. At 9 o'clock, when everybody's coming in, I'm going to be like just doing abs. That was my mentality. I'm going to get up. What they used to say who gets up earlier has worms. What is that? Early bird catches the worms. Yeah, I believe that. I believe get up early before anybody else is up. This morning I got up. Here I am coming from Budapest, halfway alive. The jet lag, not to mention this yellow fever shot, wasn't supposed to bother me, right? I went to Brazil last week. Here, take this yellow fever shot. You have to have a yellow fever shot. I'm like, okay, fine. Oh, man, I've been dying. It's like my muscles aching, my neck hurts. I'm up all night, you know. But, you know, I got up early. You go, you know, this is what I want to do. This is what I've been wanting to do all my life. Doing seminars and talking. I forgot about yellow fever shot till just now. And, wow, I am messed up here, but who cares? You know? And I learned this from actors, too. Actors always walk in, they do plays. They walk on to do the play, and they can be deathly ill, and they do a great scene, and they do the whole play, and then they leave, and they're sick again, you know? Athletes do the same thing. You rise above. You do what you got to do. And, but that's, you know, some of the things I can relate to by looking at your eyes, and, you know, eating, training, basic movements, squat, deadlift, and bench press. Not a lot of training, a lot less than you think. But eat good all the time, every day, and you get stronger. Expect to get stronger, you know, and then you can worry about the next level from there. If you read too many magazines or go online too much, it's gonna be too much. Keep it old school. Really, I mean, keep it old school. And that's why one of the reasons I'm with old school, of course, is because old school really is new school. In fact, it's the only school. All this fancy stuff is fancy stuff, okay? But nothing replaces one simple idea, going after it and get it done, like my grandfather told me. Yes, sir?
How did you incorporate the smaller muscle groups into those big lifts? Thighs, tries, shoulders.
Okay.
If you're talking about the major lifts, nothing concentrated. How did you incorporate those?
Well, I eventually, like when I was back in Michigan, I would have, I was powerlifting more. I would have a deadlift day on Wednesdays and squat heavy on Fridays and Mondays. But my intensity wasn't that high yet. And I would do an arm day. I would do arms, you know, after biceps after chest, or triceps after chest, and after back, one of those body parts as well. But I figured if I could do chest, back, and legs, arms would fit in there somewhere. On shoulders, a lot of the heavy stuff I did was shoulder stimulation. But fast forwarding to California, after learning all those basics, I did real well training 4 days in a row and taking 1 or 2 days off. In the 80s, I would train back. Back was always my weak area. I had to really be able to pull. And I learned from the best. Till this day, when Robbie Robinson is doing back, I'm like, oh, look at that. Okay, you gotta have those. To watch Arnold do arms, he's doing arms. I'm like a little kid going, I can't. It's like, oh, it's so exciting. Perfect reps, you know. And I never lost that sheer joy of like being a kid and going to a candy store. And so I would always do back first day of the week. You know, and I would emulate Robbie, how he pulled, and how he positioned himself. And the next day, I would do chest. I could lay down now, or pulling, I could do my chest work. And the next day, I would do arms, because it was, you know, just sort of by itself, triceps and biceps. So then I'd be rested for legs. And if I had a big squat workout coming up, sometimes I'd take an extra day off, you know, or 2 days off after those 4 days. I found that worked very well for me, but ideally 3 days a week. 3 days a week, we don't try to do the whole body in one week. I would probably do back one day, take a day off. This is what I'd suggest for you guys. This worked really well for me in the early years. Do like back the first day, take a day off, then do chest, then take a day off, and then do arms or legs. Take the weekend off, like come back, okay? So you only train 3 days a week, every other day, with 2 days off on the weekend. That worked great. It allowed me to rest, allowed me to recover. You don't grow in the gym when you're training. You get weaker and smaller in the gym. You grow at home when you're resting and eating and sleeping. That's really the key. I put a lot of effort into resting. Sounds so disturbed, doesn't it? But I put a lot of effort and thought into recovery. Where most of the guys that you read about, there is no recovery, there's no downtime. With this supplement, I can do anything. Train twice a day, every day. Nonsense. Overtraining is very possible. The nervous system, training like we're talking about for squats, the nervous system stress alone will kill you. You know, to recover from the nervous. You know, so I found I squat about that plus more. whenever I trained in the early years, every other day, always training day, eating day, training day, eating day, sitting training, eating 2 days, and going back. That was my deal. That was my deal. I really got strong. I did this enough, fascists went up, and my arms got better, and I learned to train better. Whenever I had a body part like arms, which was like, how do I do this? I'll go to the gym early in the morning. Nobody was there. 80 dumbbells and it was slow. Okay? And I learned my arm respond not to heavy weights, respond to slow control movements like an ectomorph. My chest and my legs respond very well to heavy explosive movements unique to my body type. We're back to more like slow reps, slow control reps. I would watch a lot of guys in California. I'm short, stocky mesomorph, in the gym, like modern day bodybuilding, back in the 70s. That's big, you can't hold it. So watch all the guys. Bobby was like an animal, black cougar. How do you walk exercise? What do you walk? How do you do that? How am I asked you kid for this shit. How do I do that? I would watch Zane. Zane was like introvert, wraparound sunglasses, and I watched Zane. He'd be on the sit-up board, the Roman chair. He would do 1 set for an hour. 1 set for an hour. I'm like, where are these guys from? Another planet, my God. But how do I do what they do? How do I put that style, that class, that, and then how do I do some of the stuff rather than just being big and strong and powerful, like a powerlifter? And it took me time being around these guys to develop my own style. I learned from the girls. The girls taught me a lot. Girls would always say to me, I like the thing you do with your hair on stage. I'm like, what? Tell me what when you do this bicep shot, you put your hair, you do this thing. Oh, okay. The girls taught me that. And I'd go on stage to pose back in the 80s, and the girls would, I remember I had a pair of sweatsuits, a sweatsuit on with like had oil on my skin. And I had a sweatsuit on, and there was lint on my legs. When I went out to pose underneath the lights, there's lint. So I started dusting the lint off before I hit the pose, and people, I like what you did. So every time I went out to pose, I pretended there was lint on my legs, So I wasn't a dancer. I wasn't Zane. I tried to imitate Zane. I tried to imitate Arnold. I tried to imitate everybody, and eventually come into your own, my own style in the gym and on the stage. But I think the most important thing is you can't bring the pain of the gym to the stage. Like, please clap for me, okay. Please clap for me. This is what they do nowadays, right? In the old days, it was like you told a story of nonverbal communication. In the old days, I was taught just, I never told anybody this. I probably shouldn't tell you, but I'm going to tell you anyhow. I would think about one thing before I walked on stage to pose that really got me like excited and glow, made me really happy. So when I walked on stage, the audience and the judges just saw that glow. I thought, wow, this guy is like, where's he from? Well, it's just, and it's sort of actors do this. They emotionalize for the scene with one thought. But eventually, I was taught to walk on the stage and just stand there and command applause. Don't ask for applause. Don't try to milk the audience. Just stand there and go, and like, people went crazy because I said, let's go for the ride. You have to invite the audience to go for the ride. When you go see a movie, and you go see a movie with a famous actress or actor, you become them for that hour, 2 hours. And I think the greatest thing I could say about posing is it's not the gym. The gym represents, of course, your quest, but the stage is extremely, you have to be an actor on the stage. You have to sell the muscle. You can't have a lot of muscle without selling it. You have to be the actor on the stage, the athlete in the gym, the businessman marketing the brand you are, as well as the businessman. There's 4 things that go into bodybuilding, but maybe I'm getting ahead of myself. I'm sort of talking about the stage. I'm talking about certain things you develop on stage that are unique to you, certain things you learn in the gym. I'm going from very basic in the gym, just 3 days a week, resting a lot more than you think, and progressing through the years to be a little more training, but still a lot of time off too. and eventually making the stage presence unique, doing what you do on stage and make it represent something, nonverbal communication, if you will. I'm doing a lot of different things at once with you. You're sort of promoting, you're pulling it out of me. I hope I'm not getting anybody confused. Does that make sense, sort of, to you, about what I talked about? Okay. Other things, anything you want to talk about? Sure, way in the back. White shirt, let's go to white shirt first.
I was trying to tell you that following is getting people are getting a little bit lazy because it's true that we need the rest. But when I
Hard time hearing.
yeah, when I walk in the gym, I don't really see people training hard.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
what do you think? It used to be like that before, or you just think like that?
It doesn't see a lot of people training hard when it comes to the gym.
I do need those days off, like you say, but I walk inside of the gym and I see people just moving with it, but
Yeah.
you don't really working like you say.
There's a work ethic back east, the eastern part of the United States. I did a seminar last Saturday. All comes together in my mind. The last Saturday afternoon was in St. Louis. There's a work ethic. It's middle America, eastern United States. Work hard for what you want in life, and you get a result, positive result. When I was a corporate recruiter, most of the guys and the girls I brought in for positions, I didn't think they were good candidates. They felt entitled. They felt that they didn't have to work, or they didn't even show up for the interview. There's a methodology, and some of the top pros have been able to, they trained hard in the early years. You're not seeing really an accurate representation of their early work. You're seeing sort of a response, minimal work response system, if you will. And some people don't have to work hard. When I first came out here from California years ago, I'm like, nobody really trains there. Everybody just pumping up, And of course, I watched Arnold, he would do the T-bar rows like there's no tomorrow. I still love watching Arnold do T-bar rows. You ever get a chance to see him do T-bar rows? Wow, that's how it's done. But Arnold would click in at times. All the top pros would click in at times. But you see a lot of people sort of not really going after it. They're sort of, we had no hoodies back then. We had no earphones, and no Bluetooth, and there was camaraderie. I did 15 reps with a stack. All right, let me try it. There was sort of participation, a lot like CrossFit nowadays, and that's one of the nice things about CrossFit. It brings back the camaraderie. But I think because it's such an individual thing, everybody's like zoned into, okay, it's about me. It's okay, it's just my workout, and nobody really displays energy and attitude. It's missing in a lot of gyms, and I know what you're saying, and a lot of gyms don't want that. A lot of the gyms, they just, they're nice gyms, and don't get too crazy, just don't make too much noise, and, maybe do something. We don't really care, Gold's Gym is not the same as it used to be here in California. I mean, back in the 70s, it was a men's sanctuary. There was only 3 girls in the gym. I'm thinking, can I train in the same gym with a girl? It was a different place. It was like, you went there to train. You went there to really go after it. And Ed Cohen. Pardon me? Yeah, Robbie was there. Robbie Robinson. Oh, Robbie was a clockwork. And Robbie never spoke to me. I was a new kid on the block. A little kid, teenager, barely, maybe 20-year-old now. And Robbie never spoke to me. I'm like, wow. He'd be in the mirror, like that. This big skylight. He'd be posing. And I'm like, my breath was taken away. Life is really not about the moments, how many times you breathe. Life is not about how many times you breathe. Life's about the moments that take your breath away. So when I saw Robbie, I'm like, oh. And Robbie eventually spoke to me. I hurt my arm, and my bicep tore, and I was in the hospital in '82, and my appendix burst. He came into the hospital at night, like 11 o'clock at night. I don't know how he got in. amazes me. He walked in and he goes, "You'll be fine." You know, with his word, "You'll be fine." You know.
Okay.
I said, "Robbie," he goes, "I just want to come see you. You'll be out of here pretty soon. We'll train arms together." First time he ever spoke to me. I'm thinking maybe pain medication's too high or something. You know. But there was a magic. The reason I'm getting into some of this, there was a magic in the air. There was you walked into Gold's gym. It's just thick. All you had to do was open the door to the gym. And, "Whoa, baby, I can't wait to go inside." It was like a magical place. And every exercise you did transported you to higher levels of muscle. It was like a special place you would go. And Robbie would do seated cable rows. I'd be like, "He's done. I'm doing the same thing that he did. I'm using the same handle, and I got unbelievable results." It was magic. It wasn't like, "I do 10 of those, do 15 of those, go home." You know, and the magic is gone. And I think the reason I'm sort of saying it that way is I think if anything in bodybuilding, we used to call it a sport, an art, and a science. I think we need less science and more art. What we have on stage is a lot of science experiments nowadays. The physicality of it. 300 pounds, 5'7", in shape, 2% body fat, you know. But the energy, the human projection, the love of the game, I think that the human spirit, when I talk about art, that's where I'm going with that message. And I think that some of those things have been lost in the days of science and pharmacology. And I think we need to get back to the joy, the sheer joy of training. I mean, the sheer joy of doing 15 reps with a stack on the seated cable row. Wow, that was fun. That was exciting, you know? "Arnold, you're next." I'm sitting on the bench going, "Okay, I'm next." Oh, I love that. The interaction of people and spirit, human spirits, you know? Nowadays, nobody communicates like that. And it's missing. Whenever you see it, you're like, everybody wants to go back to old school. That's why you're all here. That's what we had. We'll come back. We'll come back. Everything repeats itself, you know? Bell bottoms came and went. Tight jeans, skinny jeans. Now we're back in. You know? I never timed it right. Suits, lapels changed, you know? Everything comes back. And I think everywhere I go in the world, people want to know about how do we bring back that golden era, that time where it was so special, you know? That's why old school is here. That's why we're here. And I think it's coming back. I think enough people want it. That's why the physique class, the classic physique class was invented, you know, to bring back the aesthetic, sexy lines of the nice hot rods. Bodybuilding has become about funny cars. We appreciate the funny cars. We want to go back to hot rods. And I think the classic physique class could really eradicate open bodybuilding class. It may bring back the spirit and the joy and the art of bodybuilding as it's needed. And I think that's one of the things you're sensing and you're seeing. I can see it in your eye. When I say a certain word, you're like, yeah, yeah. And how old are you, 30? 32? Man, you know? You know?
When I started, I was only bodybuilding. When I started, it was only bodybuilding. Like 54 years ago.
Yeah.
And that's what I knew. So it got kind of out of sense, the size of the people that are doing it. So now that they come up with, and I stopped competing because of that, because I was getting very bad places. My size is really happening for what they're looking for. Including the States, but they're looking for master class. So now that they come out with the class in the States,
yeah, that's perfect. Perfect. It's a good idea. But you know, I don't mean to be disrespectful to the top guys. I mean, Phil Heath is a tremendous athlete. My wife and I called him before he was even well known. Called him on the phone and said, "You know, we think you could do this." He goes, "Oh, thanks. You think so?" Okay, and Sean, my wife, said, "Phil, you have a gift." You know, and he calls himself the gift. I imagine that's where he got it from. But his first year, It was unbelievable, superb. Oh, Ronnie Coleman's first win. Oh my God! No, everyone copies Dorian. I mean, Dorian was in the back of the seminars, and many of the seminars I did in the UK for many years. Dorian did something that nobody else ever did. Everyone has been copying Dorian ever since. I'm waiting for the next Mr. Olympia not to copy Dorian, to invent something new. That's what I'm hoping to see soon. And I think, you know, I'm not sure exactly how it's going to come down, but it's going to come down. Because we need it, we crave it, we want it. You're saying the things that audiences all over the world say. Now it's a matter for the competitors to do something different.
When did you finish that station?
Oh yeah, oh yeah. I remember I said to Dorian back in 82 or 3, I said, Dorian, when you walk on the stage, the judges should drop their pencils and go, what the hell is that? He's like, yeah. You know, and he back then he was dyeing his hair blonde, you know, trying to pretend to be somebody else, you know. Anyway, he was out. I did seminars in the UK every day for months and months. And he was always that big guy in the back, that big bloke going, okay, what do I got to do, you know? And eventually he put it together. He never had a stage act. It was just big beyond belief. Walked on stage, and I think the stage really bent when he walked on stage. Okay, he would just stand there like, wow, big beyond belief. That was his statement. Okay, that was how many years ago? I mean, that was, you know, and you know, Cutler and Coleman and Phil and all the guys copied that. That's the answer. Even though they were much more symmetrical and pleasing the first win, they decided they had to go that route. I understand. I get it. But I never was trying to please the judges. Maybe I should have. And I always felt that I would go to the gym and express myself in the gym. We go on the stage and humbly show the audience and the judges how it goes according to me. I wasn't trying to just please the judge. What do you think I should do? Should I more arms or less legs or better ab? What do you think? I don't care what the judges think. I just want to go on. Let me show how it goes according to me. Now when I work with guys in corporate function, and I work with people in the office, and I work with people on stage and bodybuilders, I give them the ability. I teach them just what do you want to do? What's important to you? So when you walk on stage, when you go to the acting audition, don't try to please the director. Just show them how it goes according to you. And if the judge, if the director says, try it this way, would you? I like what you did, but try it my way. And your ability to be flexible like that and try it his way, going, you know, I like your way better because you're so committed to it. That's what worked for me, being so committed to my expression of what I did in the gym from within, my art. And I wasn't, you know, I was limited physically, but that kind of spirit is what prevailed, to where I would go on the stage, and every judge that did not vote for me for the Mr. Olympia, I went to the country at least 10 times, guest post. They wanted the same trunks, the same music I always use, and they said, whatever money you want, doesn't matter, we want you in our country. Okay, so it's funny how it all worked out. I never won the Olympia, but I got what I wanted from the Olympia, you know, financially, physically, mentally, spiritually, and all those things. But it was more of a, this is what I'm going to create something, and have my own expression of what I do. And when I went on stage and I posed, people go, wow, they would respond to it accordingly. And I'm still working, talking about it, you know, and it's interesting. So I think really pleasing the judges is a waste of time, really. So you win the show, big deal. You know, a couple of Mr. Olympias that won the show. Okay, fine, he's next. Who's next? You know, I mean, I'm all for the dynasties that, you know, that Ronnie Coleman and Phil Heath have created, and Dorian. I mean, wow, they did things I could never do, okay? But, I don't know, I'm more into self-expression, which I think you, as an artist, I can see it in your eye. That's why I'm going there. Okay. Yes, yes, ma'am.
How you doing?
Good, how are you?
Good.
You like this stuff, don't you?
I noticed you went to Brazil, right?
Yeah.
And I can't recall if you were training a lot of men with it. But one thing that I'm obsessed with is big legs.
Is what?
Big legs. I love big legs on men. I train my legs like a lot. And just like you said, I mean, I haven't really eaten clean clean. I've just been focused on eating really good, and everybody goes, oh my God, how do you get your legs so big? I literally train so hard, like I almost pass out. And I love it.
Yeah.
So what I noticed was the main difference between here, and this is no offense to anybody, that the way that the women train in Brazil is almost identical to how we train. And
Yeah, they got along real well there.
right, and so I think it's really beautiful. And so my question to you is, because a lot of people think it's genetics with the Brazilian women, but if you look at them, before they started training, their legs were trained. Okay, and so I wanted to get your opinion on how that training was and what you think the difference is between Brazil and here.
Brazil's a sexy country. When you go to the country, barring this yellow fever shot thing, when you get into the country, it's like all the women are like, they're shapely. You know? And with a little training, it really becomes apparent. Some of the girls in the gym, I'm like, their technique was flawless. I had them they were taking part in my squat clinics. I'm like, wow, look at this girl, you know? And they squatted, they knew how to squat. They understood the methodology very much so. But I think the attitude of a woman in Brazil it's about legs and about using the lower body. It wasn't just about having skinny legs and looking upper body wise. They think that way. You're right, and it became apparent to me that women have great legs in Brazil. Okay, I mean there's some gorgeous women there. I was like, holy smoke, this is like world class here, And some of the girls were just like, well, yeah, I have 3 kids, and you're kidding, But a lot of it is mentality. I mean, there's something about, like Jacob and I squat with a girl from Kratos. What's her name? Megan? Juliet? Oh, yeah. She's a powerlifter. Man, gorgeous legs. Okay, I mean, I'm married, okay? Don't get me wrong. But I'm like, wow, look at the legs. My wife always says, he's married, but he's not dead, And I'm just like, and she squats magnificently well. Something about a woman with good legs, it's like, it just takes your breath away for a second. You think, wow, look at that. So I think we've underplayed it in America. In America, we've put so much emphasis upon legs for days, long, lean legs. Even that statement, legs for days, model-like. We really don't appreciate full, developed femininity, and it comes from applied squatting and strength training. And then when you get a country like Brazil, and I'm surprised there's no really major people from Brazil competing in the women's classic physique class. There should be. I even talked about that very thing when I was there. We should go there. I think everybody in America should go to Europe or somewhere in South America. We should all travel. You really see differences in cultures. It's very interesting, not only to your business, but to your mind as well. Okay. I think we got time for maybe a couple more questions. Sir?
Yeah. So what's your thought between the classic physique, all right?
Okay.
We're going back to the golden era, right? With the slim legs, the condition, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Now you're going to the modern era where these guys are looking like mini bodybuilders. If you were a judge, how would you judge it? Because a lot of people winning nowadays is they're looking like a mini bodybuilder. They're just not as, they're not, be a monster,
Well, I would probably put a lot of thought into what I really want to look like. When I thought about training legs, it wasn't about trying to emulate Arnold or the guys from the 70s and 80s. I had my own expression of what I wanted to do in the gym. The judges, of course, have to follow suit if your goal is to win the contest. But I think if there's enough understanding like you have, you know what you want. You know what you want in your clients and yourself. There's enough that kind of ferocious understanding of what you want to do in the gym and your message and your process. Eventually, that's what you're going to offer the judge. You convince the judges that's what they should vote for if that's your goal. It's up to the judges. See, the problem with judging is they're all considered good judges if they vote like everybody else. So when you have 7 judges, they're considered good judges if they all vote like the head judge. I'm always like, well, it should be the opposite. Somebody like, you know, a girl with great legs should walk up, yeah, it should be able to do what you want to. But if a judge votes for the opposite of what the head judge is, they're cut off from the judging panel. So all the judges are going toward what's popular and safe. And it's similar to bodybuilding, but they're not sure where they want to go with it. As bodybuilders, as players, we could change the whole business. If we start doing something different and feel confident in, we're not just out to win the judges and convince the judges, we want to express ourselves, pretty soon we'll start, might be okay to vote for that, you know? It's a matter of opinion who wins. That's it. And that's the way I've always looked at it. But more importantly, it was a matter of opinion, my opinion, what I wanted to do with my body, my physique. And I didn't try to follow the rules. In fact, most of the time I didn't follow the rules. I didn't like following the rules. It got me in trouble a lot too. But eventually I had my own rules in the gym, I had my own rules on stage, and nowadays it's harder and harder to do that. But if you feel very confident in what you want to do and your expression in the gym, you can eventually change and alter the way people think. I mean that, okay? Rather than trying to move the judges, move yourself. If you change yourself, you'll eventually be able to do something that hasn't been done before, like Dorian did, okay? in your own right, somewhere between classic physique and modern day bodybuilding, if that makes sense. I'm being a little esoteric, but bear with me. Okay, good. I've been bouncing around a lot today. This is kind of fun. I like that. It's sort of my mood. And like, no. And hopefully I'm not so far, you know, rather than just giving you the answer, 6 sets, 8 reps, eat 3,000 calories a day. Next question. You know, I'm trying to get into more of a understanding, if you will, an artistic expression. Maybe a question or 2 more.
Did you ever have any leg muscular imbalances?
I'm sorry?
Like leg muscular imbalances, like one leg was bigger than the other?
Yeah, my whole body is that way. This arm is always smaller than this arm, bigger than, you know, the trap was a little bit bigger than the other one, ear was a little bit different, you know. I mean, yeah, it's normal.
When you would squat, would you feel like one leg would do more of the weight than the other? Or?
Yeah, I have a problem today. Even when I squat, I'm like off. I'm not perfect like that. I'm like off. I'm not a big believer in massage. Chiropractic adjustments, I'm into that. Massage, I made the mistake of doing that in Europe over the last 6 months. I think it caused me more problems. They have. I don't think you should push the body or force the body to do a lot of things. But you know, I owe my career to chiropractors. Osseous adjustments, and other types of adjustments were very important to my career. But I found that I never really worked the body to achieve that balance. I worked it in unity. I would always, like, for instance, alternate dumbbell curls, 1 arm at a time versus 1 arm only, that kind of thing. I never really was that kind of practitioner. I had my own thought process. Everything works together. The body works together. It doesn't work by itself. In fact, therefore, it's impossible to train chest without training, you know, shoulders and triceps. It's impossible to train one body part exclusive of other body parts. The whole body works as a unit, if you will. That was always my approach in the gym. So, granted, I did have an arm day to answer your question over here. I figured if I did enough back, chest, and legs right, my arms would be involved there, and they were. And then I just specialized on arm day to compensate to where I could even take it further. Okay. But I was never really a kind of bodybuilder that said, oh, the calf should be the exact same size as the forearm, and your neck should be, you know. I was always like, that's too much for me. You know, I wasn't that kind of classical art. And I'm not saying it's wrong. I'm just saying for me it was like, you know, what's my personal expression in the gym? What does it mean to me? How do I want to train? How do I like to train? What do I want to see change in my body? And that's sort of what I went after, that message within inside me, if you will. Okay. It's always like the last, after 2 hours. Yeah, well, yeah. Okay. Sure, go ahead, please.
I just wondering what you went to school for, Wayne State?
A little louder, please.
Wayne State?
Yeah.
What was your degree in?
I went to Wayne State in Michigan. I graduated in '78. My degree was in exercise science and health sciences. I received my BS from Wayne State University and a minor in health sciences and nutrition. Good school, very good school. I enjoyed it there very much. I was like the token white guy. That's why I learned to dance. No, no. But everybody, I mean, I say this. I mean, I was around Motown. Remember Motown? You know, and all the famous black female vocalists. You know, so I was like, wow, this is great. I love the soul music. And what I learned a lot of this in Detroit. So when I came out here and saw Linda Murray, I'm like the Pointer Sisters with muscles. You know, but I always liked, you know, like, oh, geez. But, you know, the black female vocalist was always, wow, that's just belting the song now. And I learned a lot of that and applied that to my training in Detroit. In the old days, you reminded me of something. In the old days, I remember going to the physique contest, you know, bodybuilding contest. People wouldn't leave. The audience would not leave. They were so excited and so filled with energy. Like, we had to close. Go away. We had to testing. We had to close the curtain to make the audience go away. I mean, I remember Arnold saying, close the curtain, close the curtain. The crowd's not going to leave. They're getting crazy. We'll get you guys back to the hotel somehow. We'll have security guys take you back. And I'm like, it's like being a rock star, you know? It's like being Lady Gaga, you know, or like Michael Jackson. Like, why you felt like, man, you were like a rock star, you know? Now it's like, oh, Phil Heath won again, the freakiest physique in the world. Thank you very much. Honey, let's go to dinner now, you know? I mean, what happened to the sheer mass frenzy? I remember going to watch shows that Arnold was in and Draper was in. I'm like, as a child, as a kid, I'm like, wow, these are superheroes come to life. And this is what bodybuilding was in the 70s and the 80s. It was magical experience in the gym, and there was no Facebook and Instagram, so you had to wait to go to the show. I would save up all year long, big carload of guys going up to Columbus, Ohio. Wow! You know, we wouldn't sleep for weeks just thinking about it. Save all money up all year long when I was at Wayne State. We'd go to Ohio to watch the show, you know. But then, you know, there was a massive crowd back then. It was like 500 people. And now it's 250,000 people, you know, at the Arnold Classic in Columbus. And it's like, oh, it's mind-boggling. You lose the intimacy, you do. There's something about smaller groups. There's more of an intimacy. You can feel things better, you know, more relate better. But Wayne State, went to Michigan State as well. Went to UCLA, a bunch of places. Until I decided to go into pro bodybuilding. You know, and then, of course, went back into business years later. Sorry? Where? In Detroit, there was a gym called Armento's Gym on 7 Mile and John R. It's probably... Yeah, a lot of those old gyms, they're like extinct now, for sure. Definitely extinct. One more question, over here. I haven't taken anything over here yet. Yeah, corner, red shirt.
I was fortunate enough to grow up in that time.
Yeah?
Yeah. I used to go in and watch the train. First gym that I trained at was Bill Pearl's.
Oh, Bill Pearl's gym, yeah.
Back when I was 14 years old, we passed it.
Yeah.
But going back to what you were saying about today's bodybuilding, do you think a lot of that is on the judges, on how they're going to judge? Should they have toned that back just a little bit? Because now it's starting to become a health problem. A lot of the athletes that are going up. And guys are dropping off at a really young age.
The judges are voting for something, and you know, they're promoting it. Yeah, they liked the Dorian look. They've been bigger, fuller. You know, and guys are. I think everybody's eating way too much food, and their weight class way above what they should be. You know, and you lose the lines. I mean, even Phil. I mean, guts are big, and proportions are big, and everything's big, and it's funny cars, not hot rods. You know, to make my point. But I think, you know, less food would be probably a start. And not to mention, you know, the GH and the insulin and all that stuff. But I mean, I watch a lot of the top guys. They say to me, "I can't wait to retire. You know, I can stop eating so much. You know, I'm eating 10 times a day, 8 times a day. Ronnie Coleman used to get up in the middle of the night and have a meal, go back to bed. I'm like, man, this is different. I understand it, and they certainly pulled it off. Okay, and Ronnie Coleman, I got to know pretty well over the years. But the guy that trained him called me years ago and said, invited me back into the business. Brian Dobson used to be my training partner when I was a teenager. And Brian said, I'm training this new guy, Tom. I want you to meet him. You ever heard of Ronnie Coleman? You know, I said, no, not yet at the time. And eventually introduced me to Ronnie. And he said, I'm just teaching Ronnie to do everything you told me to do. Eat big, think big, train big. And Ronnie took that to extremes, of course. But, you know, he had the mentality and the genetic talent. Very rarely do you have the mentality and the talent put together. You know, and Brian Dobson, you know, promoted that, propagated that within a lot of his guys, including Branch Warren. But I think it's up to the judges, though. It's up to the judges to go, hey, we don't want to see this, we want to see this. And Arnold sort of called out Jim Mannion there, and I think, yeah, that's what it's going to take. Do we really want to see Mr. Olympius with guts? And, you know, is that really what we want to see? Or do we want to see more aesthetic stuff? The physique class is certainly challenging that and may take... Yeah. And it may, yeah. I mean, it's going to redirect the sport. And I think the saving grace, with all due respect to my backyard, would be classic physique class. I think it's going to bring back the health, the physical culturism. We got involved in the first place for this. I wanted to have a healthy, full life. I didn't want to be like, I can't go in the mall today, honey, I can't walk. You know what I mean? It's just a little bit, that's enough. Okay, I understand it, and big is better, but I think big is too much. Too much of anything is counterproductive. If you train too much, you get overtrained. If you eat too much, you get what you get. I mean, if you see your wife too much, it's like, okay, fine, you know. Okay, everything's got to be in moderation and achieve that balance. And I think.
Sometimes it's good to go back to basics too.
Sorry?
Sometimes it's good to go back to basics too.
Yeah, back to the basics.
Growing up during that time, you know, I was fortunate to train my first real training partner in Hillsborough.
Yeah.
And, you know, he instilled a lot of stuff that I still take with me. I still, you know, I guess, still enter into my body all the time. And you go back and listen to those voices that you've grown up with. And everybody that's been around during that time, even when I was doing goals, you guys were there, and that's when Samir first came in.
Yeah.
You know, he was getting ready for the universe. And you go back to those times, you think, me as a 16-year-old, 15-year-old back then, you know, watching Samir come in and watching him pose in front of the mirror, when 2 weeks before that universe that he did, he was huge. And you look back on him, and he was no more than 185 pounds,
Yeah.
185 pounds. But it's still in your eye, that 185 or 90 pounds, you don't see that anymore. And guys get down that low and still even now have those that type of aesthetic and size.
Yeah. Well, that's
the difference. I think that's going to be the difference. Can classic physique or classic bodybuilding pull that off?
There's some guys in Europe. They're like, oh, I mean, this tiny waist, broad shoulders. I'm like, they're like champions in their own countries, and nobody knows about them. I see this, even the girls in Brazil, I'm like, oh my God, you know? And those are the guys I'm sort of like, and then some of the girls, I'm like, you could go world class, you know? Some of these guys in Hungary, he competes like 25 times a year. He makes like, you know, $10,000 or $20,000, $30,000. One show he made $150,000. He pays for his gym and for his BMW M6, and he's an amateur still. I'm like, my God, why don't we take this to the next stage? World-renowned recognition for your body and for who you are. A very humble guy. He's embarrassed to win on stage. I watched him win a show. He's like, oh, I'm sorry I won. You know, he's sort of apologizing to his competitors. I'm like, God. You know, and it's hard for a guy, some of the great talent in Europe to be like Arnold. Like, hey, let me show you how it goes, you know, according to me. And some of these guys I'm able to teach and work with. But I think you're going to see some talent come up that's very different. And I think it's going to come back to what we want, what we're looking for, because enough people are. Okay. Having said that, I'd like to take time to break and take pictures. I promised that I'd be available for pictures and signing autographs and stuff like that. We'll do that, okay? So please, I can't get everybody all at once, but if we can make them come kind of line somewhere, we'll make it happen. But I appreciate your attention very much. Thank you for your energy. I mean, the energy that you give all of us, you know, is why we've done it. My whole career was based upon getting energy from you guys, okay? And when I got the energy from you, I was able to do it. I just want to thank you for all those years of the energy. Thank you very much. Thanks for being here. We're not leaving.
Everyone who's willing to go there. You have to be careful. The idea is not to injure yourself. The idea is not to take undue risk. That's correct. But if any exercise doesn't have a risk, it's not worth doing. When an exercise has an inherent risk, it usually means it has an inherent effectiveness as well. You have to balance the benefit to risk ratio. There's an exercise, most exercises that I use are extremely effective that have some risk. If there's too much risk and not enough effectiveness, I don't do it. And whenever any exercise becomes that way, to where the balance is there's too much risk, I will abandon the exercise, yes. Okay? The idea is not to injure yourself, but the idea is to destroy muscle cells and to injure muscle cells, which of course is hypertrophy. I really think, and as soon as I think about hamstrings, I think about one exercise. That's the Nautilus leg curl, the lying leg curl. And not just doing the exercise for reps or for heavy weights, but by doing both, of course, like I always recommend for all body parts. But at the end of your set, when you can't do any more, having your partner give you assisted positive reps. I think stiff-legged deadlifts are really tough on your lower back. I did stiff-legged deadlifts for the 1975 Mr. Michigan. I almost didn't make it to the 1975 Mr. Michigan, which I won, because my lower back was hurting so bad. In 1981, we wore big trunks. I remember going to the 81 Olympia, and I was at the hotel room in Columbus, Ohio, and I was putting my trunks on, my sweatsuit over top to walk to the auditorium, and my buttocks were cross striations in my buttocks, and you could see muscles in my buttocks, and I'm like, God. I said, Joe, my training partner's name was Joe, I said, too bad we can't show this muscle. You know, and 20 years later, everybody's showing their buttocks. And so, and this happened to me by doing, of course, a stringent diet, but by doing the leg curls, as I suggested, really worked my buttocks and my hamstrings in an unbelievable way. So whenever I think about hamstrings, I think about what I just told you. Well, it's impossible to squat flat-footed when I have my feet that low on the platform, first of all. So from a purely anatomical, structural conceptualization, my heels are going to come off the platform. Okay, my heels will come off the platform if you position your feet correctly, like a duck with your heels together and very low on the platform. Yes, it does put a little excess stress on your knees, but if you have enough flexibility, which you should have, it will allow you to really train the vastus lateralis more predominantly. And that's my goal. The goal of hack squats is to really develop the vastus lateralis, the muscle which gives you the teardrop look. And by coming on your toes and bringing your heels and then coming to the top of the movement and flattening your heels out, it really brings the vastus lateralis into play. Keep in mind that it's impossible to shape a muscle. I'll repeat that. It is impossible to shape a muscle, but you can develop one head more than the other. The quadricep has 4 different heads, and it's possible, most definitely with this technique, to put more stress on the side of your quadricep, the vastus lateralis, and give you more of a teardrop look. My legs were never really that big, but I had that teardrop, okay? And when I walked on stage, it was like it gave me that kind of a look that nobody else had in the 70s and the 80s and the 90s. Finally, I think people are getting it, and they're learning how to train legs. And these people nowadays, pro bodybuilders nowadays, have unbelievable legs. But back in my day, nobody else had that. That's why I stay on my toes and bring my heels off the platform and flatten my heels out. But one thing I do at the very top of the movement, before I lock out or partially lock out, I do tighten my buttocks very hard. So I'm stretching and completing the movement by tightening my buttocks, but my heels naturally do come off the platform and I'm on my toes. If you do squat correctly and do the hack squats like this, that's all you'll need. I mean, people nowadays do squats and they do hack squats and they do this other exercise, leg presses. I mean, leg presses is really an inferior movement, okay? It's like, why do leg presses? But if you do this hack squats incorrectly, if you do the squats incorrectly and your back gets most of the training, you have to do a lot of other exercises like hack squats, like leg presses, which are completely ineffective, but to tire the quadricep out before you go home. But if you squat correctly and do hack squats like we're suggesting, you won't have to do much else. The idea is not to let the gym be your entire life. The gym should make your life better. That's old school, really. When you have more questions, send your questions to Old School. They will send them directly to me and I will answer them. And the last thing I have to tell you about is simply keep it old school. Bye-bye. Promise yourself that you will never just give a little bit. You will always give it everything you got. That's an easy one. I'm scared to death of leaving the gym knowing I'm a loser and didn't give it my all. I think about that before each leg workout. Can I leave the gym training halfway? Can I leave the gym not really giving it everything I got? And always the answer to myself is, no way, I can't do that. I'd rather die than leave the gym a loser. So when I think that thought, when I get in the middle of a set, I mean, there's no holding back. I mean, I'll squeeze every rep out. And I'll go to the point to where I can't get any more reps, but I get 5 more. And sometimes 5 more after that. Most of us, we put limitations on ourselves as humans. We think that 10 or 15 is enough. There's more in you. There's always more in you. There's always 5 more reps. And I think with that kind of mentality, you can get through anything. You get through a hard, heavy leg workout, no problem. But you have to make a promise to yourself initially. You have to really be quiet and be still. Turn off the internet, turn off your iPhone, turn it all off. Forget about Facebook, forget about Instagram, and forget about all this stuff for a second. Be still, if that's possible. Be really, really still. Make a promise to yourself. Promise yourself that you will never just give a little bit. You will always give it everything you got. If you can do that, if you can really promise yourself that and marry yourself with that promise, you'll get through any leg day. I know it. I mean, the last 50 years I've been getting through leg day. But yeah, I am nervous and my palms are sweating and I'm scared to death before I go up to the bar because I know what it's going to happen, but I allow myself to prepare very slowly. And when I walk into the gym, all I think to myself is I'm going to do maybe 1, maybe 2 sets of squats. I'm going to warm up and I'm going to just see how it feels. I'm going to get into it slowly. I'm not going to force myself. I'm going to allow myself to just get into the sheer joy, if I can use that word, the sheer joy of the movement. And once I get into the movement, and once I start feeling the rhythm and the music of the movement, I allow myself to get more energized, and I go to where I went when I was real quiet the week or 2 before. And I go there and I enter that room. And once you enter that room, I mean, anything's possible. When you enter that room to where you will give it everything you got, results are forthcoming. Results will happen no matter what. Leg size, leg strength will happen no matter what. But you have to be, you can't be afraid of going in that mental room, if you will. You have to accept that challenge. You can't say no to it. If you do, you'll be just a Facebook bodybuilder, an Instagram bodybuilder. And maybe that's good. Okay, but back in my day, it was either be a priest or be a bodybuilder. And they're both spiritual, well, they're both religious. I mean, squatting is very religious. I know I'm getting kind of nuts with you guys, but that's what I think about. I mean, life offers you opportunities. Squatting is one opportunity. Every day in the gym is an opportunity. You can either stay afraid of the opportunity, or you can take it. If you give up on your dreams in the gym, if you give up on your dreams, I mean, what do you have left? That's all I have to say about mental attitude for the moment. When you have more questions, send your questions to Old School. They will send them directly to me, and I will answer them. And the last thing I have to tell you about is simply keep it old school. Bye-bye. This is what Arnold taught me to do when I was his student. Well, first of all, I think everybody has tremendous potential. One of the things you have to realize is that you cannot be a victim to your genetics. Your genetics must be a victim to you. And that was one of the thought processes that I had as a young man, as a teenager. I was not going to be a victim to my genetics. I mean, there's many bodybuilders around the world that I see that have tremendous potential, but we all have potential. You can't let anybody tell you you can't do something, not even yourself. But looking at some of the athletes that I meet on a regular basis around the world, and I'm here in Hungary, as you know, at the moment, one bodybuilder that comes to mind is Peter Molnar. Peter Molnar, he doesn't know how good he is. He's a tremendous physique. I don't think he really wants to be an international world champion. I think he finds great satisfaction having a sensational gym here in Hungary. It's a small gym, and he does great work with everybody there. It's a great family. But I did tell him when I was there last year, people still, you have a lot more to give on stage yet. You're giving a lot to people in this gym. And it's tremendous what you do for your clients and for the gym members. But
this is for the trivia, so we're just going to get started.
Really,
you're up.
Be sensational.
Ready? All right. You don't look ready. Trivia. We're just going to ask questions. It's multiple choice. No pressure. In 1965, Joe and Ben Weider organized and held the first Mr. Olympia contest. Who won that first contest and is known as the first Mr. Olympia? Wow. Wow. It's multiple choice, by the way. All right, so you got a blender bottle or a water bottle, so you can, Karen, can you bring those up here? So you want a blender or a water? Yeah, you want a blender bottle? You have the blender bottles here? All right, we'll get you a blender bottle right now, all right? Oh, you want to go next? You seem to know your stuff. How many Mr. Olympia contests did Tom Platz compete in? It's multiple choice. So A is 2, B 3, C 5, or D 7. How many Olympia contests did Tom compete in? No. Sorry. Next, anybody else want to give it a shot? So it was 8, 2, 3, 5, or 7? 5 is right. Nice. Give him a round of applause. All right. Who wants to go next over here? Right here? What city was Tom born in? Is it A, LA, B, Fort Sill, Oklahoma, C, Boulder, Colorado, or D, Houston, Texas? So it's LA, Fort Sill, Boulder, or Houston. B, Fort Sill? That's right. Give him a round of applause. Water bottle or a blender bottle? Does anybody in the back want to give it a shot? Okay, here we go. Number 4 here. What profession did Tom Platz turn to after retiring from bodybuilding? Okay. That's right. If you were paying attention, you would have picked that up. We spoke about that. So do you want a blender bottle or a water bottle? There you go. It's a good one. It works well. Anybody want to volunteer to go next? Okay, we'll go here in the back. Which of these titles does the Golden Eagle hold? Is it 1980 Pro Mr. Universe, 1973 Mr. Ironman, 1995 Honorary Mr. America, or is it all the above? Wrong. Sorry, man. So it's a. That was A. What he said. All right. So I'll give you guys the options again. It's 1980 Pro Mr. Universe, 1973 Mr. Ironman, 1995 Honorary Mr. America, or D, all of the above. That's right. It's all of the above. Water bottle or a blender bottle?
Blender. Blender.
Who wants to go next? You? All right. What year did Samir Bannout win his Olympiad? Samir? The Lebanese lion?
You know this one.
81, 83, 78, or 80? What year did he win the Olympiad? 81, 83, 78, or 80? That's right. I can tell you were guessing there, but good job. Blender bottle or a water bottle? Yeah, kind of. Blender bottle. Want to go next right here? All right.
What year was the classic physique category, which our ambassador Brian Anstey currently holds, was added to the Olympia? Was it 2015, 2016, 17, or 18? 16. Oh, I shouldn't have given it away. Sorry guys. give him a option. We're ruining that. Water bottle or a blender bottle? All right, who's next? Want to go next? Yeah, I took that away from you. You seem like you knew the answer to that last one. Yeah. Sorry. So which ingredient is not in vintage brawn? It's our muscle building protein. Is it, or it's actually an isolate? Is it a milk, beef, eggs, or tuna? Which isolate is not in brawn? Tuna, that's right. Knows it. You must be using brawn. All right, who's next? Who wants to give it a shot next? We'll go here in the back. How many thousand of Amazon reviews does Vintage Blast, our pre-workout, have right now? You can't cheat and use your phone either, so don't try. 5,500, 4,500, 2,500, or 3,500? How many thousands of reviews?
C seems like a lucky letter of that.
Excuse me? C, which is 2.5? It's 5.5. I keep giving away the answer. Sorry, guys. We'll give him a shot anyway. That was you underestimated us, but that's fine. About 2 years ago, you would have been right. Blender bottle or water bottle? What's that?
Water, if you give them the answer.
Oh, okay. Sorry. All right, who's next? Which two products did we launch with? Did Old School Labs launch with? Is it Vintage Build, the 3-in-1 builder? Blast, our pre-work, and Blast, our pre-workout? Was it Build and Burn, our fat burner? Was it Burn and Brawn, our protein? Or Base, our multivitamin, and Blast, our pre-workout? So it's Build and Blast, Build and Burn. You want to go Build and Blast? It's wrong, sorry about that. Close. Yeah, close. Anyone else want to give it a shot? The two products that we launched with? You're here in the back? That's right. Yeah. So you want a blender bottle or water bottle?
What is bodybuilding? What is it?
All right. Who wants to go next? Got a lot of prizes left.
Wanna go? How old was Chris Dickerson when he won the Mr. Olympia? Was he 43, 41, 35, or 34?
35.
Sorry, that's wrong. Give you a shot. What's that?
43.
That's right.
Nice.
So go ahead and pick your prize, sir. And this is our last and final question. So if anyone wants one of these bottles here, this is your last chance. Who wants to give it a shot? Right here in the back. Which current old school labs ambassador played the role of the demi-Hulk? Was it Tom Platz, Rick Grayson, John Hansen, or Samir?
Rick Grayson.
That's right. Should we do the raffle on that? Official competition?
What's the prize? The prize is the products, right?
We're gonna have we're gonna give away some of these products here. So the first competition to win some of these. What is it exactly?
Contest.
To win some of these, we're gonna do a push-up contest, and then the prize is gonna be some of our products. So how many people are brave enough to put themselves to the test right here? Whoever wins this push-up contest, you're gonna get some free supplements. So. All right, well, we got one guy here. Is anyone gonna challenge him, or you guys? Look at this guy. He looks. Okay, we got two here. Let's get at least 4 or 5 of you guys. So we got 2 here. Is it gonna be a face-off, or is it gonna be? All right, we got 3. Well, okay, you guys come up. We're gonna go ahead. 5.
Yeah, let's do it over there. Let's do 5 over there.
So we do them all at once. You guys want to stretch? You guys need a quick stretch? No? Alright, just jump right into it, huh? You guys got enough space here? Give yourselves enough space. I think you can fit more on the platform. You can fit at least 2 or 3 guys on the platform here. How many count? Let's count one guy. Alright, yeah, we'll just follow my count then, guys. Ready? We'll just follow my count. Good strong form, flat back, butt down, a little bit right here. You guys all ready? Alright, let's go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47. You guys got some more. 48, 49, 50, 51, feels good. It's still really
Your choice. I'm sure you do.
like to work out. Yeah, you might need that as a post-workout. So it's a blend of creatine, glutamine, and your aminos. So it's like post-workout.
Sounds good to me.
Yeah, that's great. Probably my favorite. Yeah, enjoy it. Yeah, all right. Of course. Yeah, man. That was pretty intense, man. You almost had him there. There should be something. Yeah. So we're gonna start doing the raffles. You guys all have your raffle tickets. We're gonna do a couple of drawings. This is just one prize per winner. We have a bunch. No, those are the ones that are available.
No, these aren't.
These are the ones that. All right, everybody have their tickets? Yes. All right, first number is 323-8692. Does anybody have that ticket? No? 323-8692. No? Okay. So I think they all start with 323, so I'll just read the last four. What about 8683?
You on this camera?
We have a winner.
Brother?
Yeah. Nice. So yeah, pick a product of your choice. Congratulations. Next number is 8676. Got it? So you earned that one, bro. All right, next one. 8668. Does anyone have 8668? No? 8697. 8697. No? And then 8671. Nice.
You on my camera? No, yeah, no. Mine? What? Does it sound good? Does it sound good?
Next number is 8669. 8669. What about 8673? Next number 8687. Nice. Do we have more build, Sam? Next number 8694. 8694. Oh, nice. 8670. 8670. Really? All right. Well.
Hey guys.
Okay, well, it's a winner, so whoever has it. What about 8701? 8701. Nice. Got about 4 more prizes up here. This is a fact. And that's
To the mic, too.
8700.
8700. 8705. 8705. 8703. Nice. Congratulations. Looks like the choice is limited. No, leave you no choice. All right, 3 more prizes here. 8693. 8693. 8689. Anyone have 8689? Falling asleep. Congratulations. Eight 8699. 8699. Down to 1 more winner. Who's our fat burger? 8680. Wow, final winner. Congratulations. Give him a round of applause for the final winner. All right, guys, that wraps up the raffle. Sorry if you guys didn't win. You're winning anyway with Tom here, giving away his wisdom.
Step up to that camera when we start. I'd like to thank everybody around the world for tuning in on the seminar today. It's the first time in a long time that I don't have a translator, and I feel awkward, you know. But I'm back in LA for a brief time. I finally decided it's time to come home a little bit. I'd like to thank Old School for having all of us, of course, and for being here. It's great to be back home in LA. But you know something? I think there's something about Old School, something about Europe that sort of blends together. Old School is in Europe, and I like Europe, and I'll be back in Europe shortly. Just give me a little break here, maybe 8 weeks, I'll be back. Thank you very much. We'll see you soon. Keep it old school. Bye-bye. You happy with that? Okay.
Amazing. Okay, so anybody have want autographs? I saw some guys with some really cool belts. We can start We can start a good line here, and for you guys who don't have anything to autograph, we have cards for you right here as well. Sam, markers? Sam, markers. Yeah, we can put some music.
I ran